Morning, Big Brother fans. It is Monday, January 21st, 2019. And 1 week from today is the premiere of Celebrity Big Brother. So, yesterday we got our cast list. And I'm not going to go back and listen to what I said or what I thought, but I think I talked about a couple that had been predicted, and I'm sure that several times I suggested that another one of the ones that came out might be on the list. But let me give you a quick rundown. I did this on Periscope last night, but I will do it here as well. I tweeted out the list of cast, so I'm reading from that list in no particular order. Well, the order would be that I put the ones that we'd kind of heard about beforehand near the top. And so the further down you go, the list is, or not necessarily the further, but once you drop past about the first 5 names maybe, the rest of the names are like, I didn't know this person was going to be on. I had no clue. And I will mispronounce a couple of names, I'm sure. Apologies in advance. It'll probably happen the entire time unless I hear them call each other their names enough to figure it out. But I know one name in particular I mispronounced on Periscope, and someone corrected me on it nicely. It wasn't a bad thing. But all right, so here's a list that was released by CBS yesterday afternoon during the football game. Their football game was on, and they released this during the game. So, Kato Kaelin, that name popped out. Perez Hilton revealed. No, Perez Hilton. Who revealed that name? I don't remember who revealed that name. Oh, it doesn't matter. Someone threw that name out there either Saturday or Friday. But it wasn't Perez Hilton, because Perez Hilton revealed the next name. So let me go down. I will tell you the things that, very limited, that I know about some of these house guests. For those of you, people are saying that it's skewed much older. And it's interesting when I have someone tweeting me and say, I only knew, one of the names on that list. It's like, well, I knew, or I could put some perspective on. Let me see, how many did I know, or I understood where they were coming from? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 one that I didn't realize that I knew until someone reminded me. 6 maybe. 7. All right, 7 out of the 12. I had some kind of I understood either the relationships that they had that would make them a reason, or their backstory. So, Kato Kaelin, number 1, was involved in the came to be known because of the O.J. Simpson trial, because he actually lived on O.J. Simpson's property when the whole murders happened, and was staying in the guest house, and apparently said he heard a thump on the back wall of his, guest house. That what the prosecution was claiming was it was O.J. Simpson sneaking back into his house, into his property, after committing the murders, and he banged the back of the guest house, and Kato heard it. That was Kato's claim to fame. That's why he came to be on the stand, and then we realized he was a wannabe actor. And then he went on to do other stuff, but his really the reason he's known is because he lived at O.J. Simpson's place. And there's no implication, by the way, that he was involved in any way, shape, or form with the murders or anything. It was literally just he lived there. Joey Lawrence. Joey Lawrence was, the first time I remember him coming around was on the show Blossom, which had, I can't think of her name, but she's now plays the wife of, names are escaping me now, The Big Bang Theory. She's on The Big Bang Theory. And she was Blossom, and Joey was her Blossom's brother. grew up on the show pretty much, and then became the hot little sex, not sex star, heartthrob, teenage, did a little bit of music videos, and then did a couple of other shows. He's on a show with what's her name from Sabrina the Teenage Witch. They did a show that was on ABC Family, I think, that I saw him again. So anyways, he's been on a few things. He's done a few things. He's much older now, obviously. So, yeah, that's Joey. Eva Marie, or Natalie Eva Marie, depending on how you want to say it. I don't know what she's going to go by on the show. But she seems to have gone by Eva Marie, but CBS is putting out the Natalie as well. A wrestler. She's a wrestler, fitness model, purple hair. That's it. Never heard of her. I had never heard of her before. This is one of the never heard of her before things. So I will comment on the ones that I've never heard of, and you'll be able to tell because I'll be like, yeah, they do something like this. Anthony Scaramucci. Well, this is the one that name's been around since last season as a possibility. He jumped online and followed a ton of us last year. Lots of people. I mean, if you're even somewhat active on the Big Brother community, there's a chance he followed you. There's people like, oh my gosh, he follows me. Oh my gosh, he follows me. It's like, yeah, he followed a ton of people last year. So, I know Hamster Watch yesterday was surprised, and it's like, nah, man, he followed all of us. And he never interacted with any of us. It was more or less somebody taking care of that account went on and followed a bunch of people. So my one comment on this is that he's being cast as kind of, he and Kato seem to be the two big names on this, and Scaramucci is being cast as the the big get, like, oh my gosh, what's he gonna, politics, blah blah blah. Well, unlike Omarosa, who was not on good terms with the current administration and willing to dish some dirt and say some things, Scaramucci is fine. He's not going to say anything that's going to be very controversial. CBS may try to spin it as controversial, but I don't think he's going to say anything. He's still very much in support of the current administration, so I doubt that he's going to do anything to burn any bridges there. But he's hosts a podcast. He just wrote a book. I would actually say he'll actually be more interesting on the live feeds than Omarosa was. But he's not going to give CBS near as much dirt and stuff. You're not going to, as I've said several times, you're not going to have a White House press briefing asking, Sarah Sanders about him. So, you got that. Dinah Lohan. I'd never heard of her before, other than, oh, look, it's Lindsay Lohan's mom. So, as I said, I think last night, I'm guessing that the nut didn't fall far from the tree. So, I'm going to guess that mom's a bit wacky as well. So you got Dinah Lohan. She may or may not bring some drama. Will she be the mom of the house? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But I'm not disappointed that she's on. I'm just like, I just don't have a read on her yet, obviously. Ricky Williams. I had completely forgotten this guy until someone reminded me yesterday in Periscope that he's a Heisman Trophy winner. It was like, oh, okay. Because I remember him from college. I don't remember him from the NFL, which I guess a lot of people don't remember him from the NFL. But a football player, Heisman Trophy winner, just put him in the meta world peace category. Star athlete, bit of a mess. Although we have another one of those yet coming up near the end here of my list. So I don't have any thoughts on him. Somebody else implied that he likes to partake of certain herbs, and so maybe he'll be, come across as that kind of a person. We'll have to see. Next up, Jonathan Bennett. All right, you know exactly who this guy is. Not that you know. He was in Mean Girls, apparently, so people are making this big Dinah Lohan connection. What difference does that make? That's the mom of someone that was in Mean Girls. I doubt she knows him. She may. They may know each other. They may be best buds. But he's been on stuff. You know, and I can't even think of his name right now. But the young, middle-aged guy that was on, the 30-something guy that was on last year, who I didn't particularly care for, that's exactly who this reminds me of. That's this casting right here. So, at least that's my thoughts on it. All right. So I don't have a read on how he's going to be. But I'm guessing he's the closest thing to eye candy that you're going to get on here, except, well, maybe Ricky Williams. I don't know. Oh, no, there's another. Yeah, down at the end here again. We'll hit him. He'll be the eye candy as well, probably. And next up, Lolo Jones. I had no idea who Lolo Jones was. I couldn't have told you if you had paid me $1 million. I just didn't know. I read about her. I read her Wikipedia. So, you know, athlete, 2-star, or did track, came up into the track world, set at least one world record, has been to the Olympics, and then did bobsled in 2014. I did read one article where she apparently punched out somebody at but way back in 2014, like another Olympic bobsledder. She like knocked her out at a bar or something. So that's interesting. She also claims to be a virgin, and she's holding out until she gets married. So that may come up. I suppose it'll come up at some point. CBS will say, "Why don't you talk about this? Talk about your religion and being a virgin." So. That's that. I read her backstory, and again, this may be another one too, where you play the sad piano music, and she talks about going to 8 different schools in 8 years or some number. I'm throwing out randomness, but if you look it up in Wikipedia, it has the details. Living in the basement of a church for a period of time. Staying, her mom was ready to move again, and she said, "No, I have to stay here to go to so I can run for the track team," or some. I'm giving you very rough, vague, somewhat inaccurate references, but I mean, it's kind of an inspiring story about how she became a track star, and the hard times she went through to get there. So I could see sad piano music while she retells her story, and yes, get some sympathy, get some tear-jerking moments there. I don't know. I potentially, I don't know. I just don't know. Next up, now this is the name I messed up, and I'm going to mess it up again. Tamar, I'm going with one of those two, Braxton. So this is Toni Braxton's sister. She's a singer too. I barely know Toni Braxton because I just don't know my pop musicians that well, or and so Toni Braxton obviously is a well-known singer. This is her sister, who was a member of a singing group as well. I guess they've had TV shows. So some people know her, even from TV. I don't. That's what that is. Will she bring the drama? I don't know. Is she going to? Should I even think she should bring some drama? I don't know. Some of these people, when I don't know who they are, it's like, okay, why are they cast? But I'm gonna, if all else fails, I guess to bring some drama. So you've got her. Then you've got Tom Green. Tom Green, was it on MTV? Was that what his show was on? He was a 90s bit of a star, I suppose. Married. Damn it. I can never think of her name now. I can see her clear as a bell. They can't think of her name. The little girl from E.T. Gosh darn it. I'm not going to do it again. It's, you guys, some of you are screaming at your device right now, her name, and I couldn't come up with it yesterday, and I had about 20 million people say it to me in the chat, and now it's escaped me again. I know who it is. She's Charlie's Angels. She's done lots of things, and they were married, but they're not anymore, so it doesn't really matter. And he was famous before they got married. He did not get famous because of her. He also had testicular cancer, so maybe he'll talk about that on the show. I don't know. I'm expecting Tom to be probably more serious than people expect. What would be weird is if he ended up being kind of the dad of the season, but he is the oldest guy in there, I think, so it's potential. I don't know. I don't know what Tom Green's going to do. I imagine it'll be interesting to see him 24/7, not just on a stage or sitting in a talk show kind of a thing. I'm interested. That was the biggest surprise of this entire list. I did not know Tom Green had any interest. I did not know. I just didn't expect to see that name. So I'm intrigued with Tom Green. Should be interesting. 2 more to go. Candy Burris. I think Candy is the one who's been on a Real Housewives, right? I don't think it was Tamar. Yeah, I think Candy Burris has been on the Real Housewives. So that's all I have to say. She's been on Real Housewives. That show is... I've never watched an episode of Real Housewives. My understanding is it's kind of a, it's a bunch of ladies and they get catty. So, say no more. That's my take on that. I just say Real Housewives. There you go. Well, what's her name from last season? Brandy? Was it Brandy last season? Was on Real Housewives, right? So a different one, but still. So there you go. That's what you can kind of expect. Oh, by the way, a ton of these house guests have also been on Dancing with the Stars, which seems to be a connection. So next season, just pull out your celebrities from Dancing with the Stars as your starting point you can probably get half of them will come from that. I don't remember how many of these have been on Dancing with the Stars, but a good chunk. And that brings us to our last name on this list who has been on Dancing with the Stars, and that is Ryan Lochte. Or Lochte. I think it's Lochte. Olympic swimmer, so there's your athlete bit again, remember with Ricky Williams. Heart, potential eye candy for the ladies and some men. If he's still in shape. He's been on a suspension since this summer. He's on a 14-month suspension for drug, not illegal drugs, but banned substances. Testing positive for banned substances. So he can't compete. So he may, maybe he hasn't been working out as hard. Maybe he won't be, walking around without his shirt on all the time. I don't know. Don't know what Ryan's going to look like, but he will be in the house. He also is well known because in Brazil at the Olympics, he claimed to have been robbed at gunpoint, and then it turned out that he lied, and he wasn't robbed at gunpoint, and it made quite a splash. Kind of, gave him kind of a bad look, and that's my take on him. Is like, oh, this guy. This is the that lied about this stuff and sounds like a jerk to me. I don't have a positive impression of Ryan Lochte, unlike Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps, golden boy. Ryan Lochte is kind of the not so golden boy, but he's the second most winning Olympic medals next to Michael Phelps, at least for the U.S. I'm not sure in other countries, but I know he's second in at least the U.S., if not ever, in Olympic medals. So he's quite a fast swimmer. But you know what? All they have in the Big Brother house is the hot tub, and you can't swim in the hot tub. Well, I do have an animated GIF I made of Meta World Peace doing the backstroke, but it's not something that's easy to do. nor was it in actual reality. He was just kind of goofing around. All right, that's the list. We don't have an exact time or day yet for our first podcast. I'll ping Scott today and say, okay, what are we doing? Because he said sometime expected announcement, but we had kind of talked about doing it on Saturday, so I thought we would, but maybe he's got something else in mind. Show starts Monday. I think the house tour probably Wednesday this week, maybe-ish. So, and the house guests I don't think they're in the house quite yet, or maybe they're going in today. I think, once they're announced, though, they're pretty much locked in. They're probably, at the very least, they're in their hotels locked up. And maybe they're taping the premiere episode today. I'm only guessing. That would be more logical than doing it on a Sunday if you don't need to. What's the need of doing it one day early? Record it on a Monday. Unless the staff is going to work on a Sunday anyways. I don't know. All right. Done. We are now on the, I don't know if I'll do one of these I don't know if I'll do one every day of these. I don't know if I want to do 5 this week, but I'll do a couple. One last thing, update on the Spreaker, which is where I record this through. There will be a commercial, an ad or two at the end of this. By all means, skip it. You don't have to listen to it. I've told people this, and I've said it several times now. I'm testing out the monetization option on Spreaker, and I play an ad at the end. I had the options of beginning, middle, or end, or all 3, or only 2, or whatever. And I said, no, if I'm going to try this out for the fun of it, I'll put it at the end, just to see if it makes anything. And I said I would tell people how it went. And so my update as of this morning, because I looked it up, my last, I did a Spreaker. My last one was on the 10th of January. And on that day itself, just that day, it made me 60 cents, roughly. So today I'm anticipating that this will pull in maybe, somewhere along that lines. Maybe 75, because I'm going to guess I'll get a few more listens here than I did last week, just as things get closer. So we'll see. We'll see what it says. And then the next day it was like maybe half that. Maybe a third of that. Maybe I got like 20 cents. So that's what'll happen. Now the thing is, I'll be doing, I don't know if I'll do one tomorrow. I probably won't, but it'll in theory, it'll ramp up a little bit because people will listen to, people will continue on and listen to last week's as well. So it'll be interesting to see. But I'm not making money doing this, the Spreaker part of it. I'm people do support this this CarCast through Patreon, and you're welcome to do so as well if you want to for the month. Or for January and or February, and you gotta go to patreon.com and look for BBGOSSIP. Now there's also one for our Big Brother Gossip regular podcast. This is for my Mike's CarCast, and so you would look for BBGOSSIP, I believe, and that'll come up with me. And if you want to become a patron and support, there's about a whole whopping 16, and I appreciate every one of those people that are doing it. So I'm not, by saying there's, a low number, that's actually not. I'm never expected even to do it that way anyways. All right, I have now entered the rambling zone, and I'm going to stop and sign off and wish you a happy Monday. And I hope you have a good one. It is cold here in Indiana. For those of you that have never heard me do this before, I am located in Indiana, and we got 7 inches of snow on Saturday, and it is currently 11 degrees Fahrenheit. So the roads are clear today, and they were clear yesterday, but Saturday was fun. I drove very little on Saturday, but I did get into work, and I am pulling into my parking garage at work, and so I'm going to sign off. Take care, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.